Hey guys, Jen with Astro Tea. So today we are talking about the full moon in Aquarius that's also happening on the 19th at 27 degrees Aquarius, 15 minutes in that Aquarius Leo axis. Now I rushed to get this video started because it was just thunderstorming out and I thought that would be the perfect backdrop and hopefully it would resonate. But of course it went by so quick and now it's already getting sunny. So oh well, but the thought was there anyway. So this is video 3 of all the aspects, lunations from the 14th of August to the 22nd. So this already started, I think it was Wednesday. Yes, yesterday. Today's the 15th. So we had the Mars-Jupiter conjunction yesterday. We have that right down here in Gemini, and that kind of kicks off kind of the whole feel of the week. And that again was in that T-square, but we'll get through all of this. This video we're concentrating on the full moon. So first, with a climaxing cycle, we look back at before to look forward, the seeds that were planted back when this all first started. And this was with the new moon that was in Leo. This was at 12 degrees Leo back on August 4th. So because the new moon and Mercury happened so close, the 4th and the 5th, Mercury retrograde, it was the day that Joe Biden actually stepped down as the presidential candidate, then endorsing Harris as the new Democratic candidate. So there we see the new seed planted with the new moon. So this is kind of a climaxing of that. It's just everything that kind of resonated then. Someone new stepping into the spotlight. That is kind of that growing, waxing moon phase in Leo. So, you know, Leo is about being in the spotlight. So with that Mercury retrograde, it's about restarting and reconfiguring, and of course that's what the Democratic Party did, restructuring and kind of starting over again with their new candidate. The full moon will really illuminate what started. So as it's bringing it to light, it's going to really illuminate everything else about it, kind of, you know, showing and exposing what's hidden with the new moon, things, you know, because with the new moon, the sun hides it. But as it starts waxing, it starts coming out and it starts to be exposed in that waxing phase as it's coming into the light. So I think a lot of this is going to kind of come back to as far as political goes. And I know I'm focusing a lot on political with these videos, but it's just, this is so impactful because everything's kind of happened around everything Democratic. You know, we had plus Trump getting shot at, just all this stuff is going on in the political scheme of things, plus Saturn being in there, and just, you know, that's all about, you know, governments and, you know, governments falling, like with that last full moon. So kind of looking at maybe why Biden stepped out of the race so abruptly. You know, I think the answer to that question will be illuminated with the full moon, and I think with that Mercury-Uranus square, it will kind of be another oh my god moment that's coming up, because it's going to be the second Mercury-Uranus square, and this one Mercury's going to be going retrograde, so it's going to be kind of bringing something back, I think. And actually, I've seen a couple interviews with Biden actually talking about how they almost kind of forced him out, or, you know, maybe that letter might not have been written by him, you know, maybe something like that. So it's kind of almost, you know, per Nancy Pelosi, and we even saw an interview with her kind of saying around the same thing. So I think things like this are going to start coming to light, that maybe this wasn't his idea, maybe it was kind of the whole party's idea that thought it was the best idea. Anyway, not to just kind of just dictate what's going to happen, because we have no idea. You know, we got Uranus in here. That can be anything. It's so hard to predict what's going to happen. It's just impossible, because it's just that big shock, surprise, something you never saw coming. And that's, I think, what's the most exciting about these Uranus squares is that, like, oh my god, like I didn't see that one coming. Like, so we were predicting all this stuff, and I'm thinking, oh well, it might go this way. Well, it might not, because again, Uranus is unpredictable. So it's very interesting as we build up to this full moon climax, and it is like on the exact day we also have two T-squares. Okay, they're not exact, but there are orbs that we use. I usually keep it around the 3 degrees, and they're all kind of within that. So these are very tight orbs of the full moon plus two T-squares going on, and the full moon is a part of one of them. And so first we talked about the Mars-Jupiter conjunction, and that's T square to Saturn in Pisces and Venus in Virgo. So there we have our two malefics, our two benefics, but the benefics are in both debilitating signs. We have Jupiter here in Gemini, not so happy there. It's more in its debilitation, kind of just sending information all over the place and just blowing everything up. And we can see that going on, in the media, in social media. Things are just blowing up, but it's everywhere. It's going all over the place. It's this, it's that. But that's because Jupiter isn't happy there. It doesn't really know what it's thinking about. It's just really, and then Mars is really just kind of pushing that. And then we have Venus. Where the heck is my Venus? Okay, my Venus fell off. Oh no, there she is over here in Virgo. So Venus is also in a sign of her detriment, and she just doesn't like being in Virgo. She's going to be happy once she moves into Libra, because that's more of her, that harmonious. But Virgo, it's about almost, picking things apart, being nitpicky, not being just all about that beauty and just harmony and nicey. It's all about kind of just, picking things apart and just being more critical. And we kind of see this with a lot with this new moon, or with this full moon, because it's bringing up a lot of criticism and yes, this happens with every election. There is criticism everywhere, but we have to remember this isn't just on a national scale or a global scale. These are personal planets. So we have not only the social planets, the Saturn, Jupiter, but we also have our personal planets, the ones that really affect us the most. They are on a shorter term, but it is that faster moving, the personal, that Venus, our loves, our, money, the things that we care about, food, nice things, that. Then we have Mars, our, our intentions, our goals, our drives, our, getting going, even our sex lives, our, our aggressions, our anger, that type of thing. And, those are just, and then even Mercury, how we take in and process information, understand that information, and what we do with it once we get it. So with this full moon forming the T-square, with none else but, so this full moon is in the T-square. So we have that one T-square, but the full moon, the second T-square, is the sun, moon. So we have sun, moon here, boop, T-squaring right here. So see, we have this T-square, but then little cockeyed right here, we have this T-square. So we have the Mars, Jupiter, and then we have Saturn up here, and then Venus. So it's just triangle, little T-square, T-square. So just a little bit cockeyed, the two of them, and it's in, you see the fixed and mutable signs mainly. So it's with Uranus, so we have the full moon with Uranus, so that is that crazy unpredictableness that's coming along, and who just had its second square, when we have this full moon on the 18th, so the full moon's on the 19th, the 18th we have the second square with the retrograding Mercury, and that's only one day prior with, so Mercury is square, so you can also see that Mercury is conjunct the sun here. So Mercury has already squared Uranus for the second time come Sunday. So that's going to be happening this Sunday here in the United States. So I would expect some more of those shocks that are going to happen, you know, surprises, things that we did not see coming. I also see, you know, a lot of things maybe going on social media, things coming out on social media, because we do have these, you know, we have Uranus and we have this going on, the full moon in Aquarius, which a lot has to do with that communication, but that different kind of communication. So that social media, that, you know, getting things through Twitter or through TikTok, or, you know, getting your information that way. And I've actually also seen news things coming out, how Facebook has kind of stifled different stories. So a lot of that stuff, I'd expect a lot more of that coming out, that's kind of going to be exposed, things like that brought to the light, brought into the light shining on it with this full moon. So so with all this is playing really a key role in this extraordinary full moon. It's actually a super moon. So even more. So that means it's closest at its time, where it's closest to the Earth, and very high intensity. So it's also the blue moon, which is the third of 4 moons of the season. So not only do we have all these other aspects going on, we have the moon really just resonating with us and really just driving everything in. Oh, did you hear that thunder? I hope you guys did. You know, a normal Aquarius full moon, when full moons can be normal, I suppose, this one's very abnormal or very extraordinary. It's about, you know, that Saturnian, okay, realization. So with this full moon in Aquarius, it's about, you know, coming to the realization where, okay, things need to change. So the seed is planted and then it grows, and now, okay, let's make those changes, and let's see, you know, the things that need to change. We know that change can be difficult. You know, there is Saturn in there as the ruler. But just like with your Saturn return when you're 30, 60, you go from that kind of, the first one, when you're about 30 years old, you go from that free-spirited youth to an adult with responsibilities, and then almost kind of opposite with the, when you turn around 60, you're kind of going back, and you're kind of like, okay, I'm finishing up this work, I'm finishing up this responsibility, so I kind of can start living my life, or maybe have more dramas, you know, hopefully not health things and everything, because I'm heading that way, I'm heading towards mine, and don't really want to have any of those headaches. But anyway, so this is what I mean with this, these changes. Of course, these changes can be really difficult, but you know it has to be done. You know, you need to really kind of just, it's almost a freedom type thing. So, you know, these barriers are holding you in, but the Aquarius energy kind of just breaks you free of those barriers, free from those biases, to be more accepting of differences in society. And I think that's really what this is a lot about. So not to be so polarized in your opinions of things and your thoughts on things, and to try and see the other side. On a global scale, it is kind of showing a time for democracy and balance, but coming with that square to Uranus, like, you know, when you're trying not to, when you're trying to, like, you know, oh, you know, that we're going this way and we're going this way, well, that's throwing a wrench into it, and it's like, okay, now I got to rethink everything, because that Uranus is in there, and we don't know what it's going to do. You know, we have no idea, you know, what side it's going to land on, if any side, or it's going to bring us together, pull us more apart, who knows. So it'll be really interesting to see how this all plays out, I think, anyway, and I think it's going to be a huge change for society as a whole. So on a global scale, you know, we're hopefully not going to have this severe polarization that we're seeing, that we've been seeing for probably, I'm thinking, at least the last decade. You know, within this last decade, everything has become so like me against you, you against me, me against this, and that type thing, and it's really just kind of sad. So anyway, that's how the moon should be. It should be that putting it out there, kind of just coming out, being forced to open up your eyes and accept different things. That's kind of what Aquarius is all about. So, but the T-square to that Mars-Jupiter conjunction, so it's our goals are the sun, our goals, our drives, conjunct to that retrograde Mercury, just squared to that Uranus. It's that. So we have our goals, we have what we want, we know what we're aiming for, but all of a sudden that Mercury Uranus square plus the full moon square is really got us saying, wait, what now? Kind of like snapping yourself out of that fog, because the sun is in a quincunx or in conjunction with Neptune. Kind of confused about what to do. Like, I don't know what's going on. This, is just getting crazy. So people that aren't into astrology, they're not going to see this coming, but we're kind of going to know a little bit about what's going to be happening, what we can expect, what can we expect to feel and see, so we can kind of sit on the outside and just kind of take it all in. Except things that we might have going on personally, which we're all going to feel. So we'll get into that in a little bit. But we, thinking about it, we got ourselves into this mess. This is what, okay, with the new moon, we got ourselves into this mess. Now we have to find the drive. We have to find the desire to make that change. Ultimately improves our lives, no matter how difficult that is going to be. That is stepping outside your comfort zone. That is that square also with, we have the Saturn and then the Jupiter, Mars, and Venus square. So what do we want? We have to step out of that comfort zone, and it's pulling that Saturn, but the Saturn's trying to put those brakes down, but we need to push through it. So I think, it ultimately the changes are going to improve our lives, no matter how difficult. So I think, we really need to keep an open mind with that. So I think not knowing, that it's difficult with, the urgency felt. We feel this urgency. We don't know what's going to happen. We have Uranus, Pluto, Neptune, Mercury, and the full moon all closing in on those last degrees of the signs that they're in, which is all these mutable fixed signs. So it's like kind of pushing out of the fixed, getting into the mutable. So where do we go next? And the mutable signs pushing into, okay, that new start. They are going to be all moving into the cardinal signs. So, the Aquarius Leo axis can really just be as stubborn as the fixed signs, because it is Aquarius Leo. It's stubborn, it's fixed, it doesn't want to move, ruled by Saturn. Changing our minds is a difficult thing, but this kind of forces us to do it. I think that the Mercury Uranus square is going to really be that kind of that jolt forward, like these thunders, or I'm not sure if you hear it, but the thunder and lightning that we hear in the background, kind of just like giving you that jolt. It's that kind of cattle prod that, that's pushing us forward, because we're going to, I think, when things start being, if things are illuminated with the new moon and with that retrograding Mercury, things that are going to be brought back are going to be put into the light that we're not going to be able to unsee. Things that we aren't going to be able to unsee, unlearn. So we're going to just really have to deal with it. So, it's this total transformation to a new future on the horizon, with Pluto about to take up a 20-year residence in Aquarius, and the 20-year pretty much cycle between when Jupiter and Saturn met up and were conjunct back in 2020. So, yes, it's cliche, but there will be a new normal coming up. And I think that last month, I think all the astrology of this year, 'cause it's been such a huge year astrology-wise, is really going to be that catalyst that's going to kind of push us, and to where there's like, you're kind of on that wagon and you're rolling down a hill, so you can't stop yourself, so you're just going to have to go. Or you're just going to crash and get hurt. So you're just going to have to go with it and see what happens. So I really think, all of the astrology this month is that and in July too was that catalyst, pretty much even starting in April, I think. So we had the two presidential candidates have, think about that, the full moon in Capricorn, where that is about kind of like, that top, that those people in charge, our government, kind of almost, okay, you're at your peak, now what's going to happen, what's going to be the waning cycle of that. So we had the two presidential candidates really kind of have the ladder, pulled out from under them. One, though, refused to follow. That one was the one that got shot, so he refused to follow. The other one kind of went with it and gave into it, but gave way to a new climber and kind of put that ladder back up and told somebody else to go ahead. So we have one that refused to fall and then one that paved the way for somebody new. So this pivotal point, where the world is basically just like so divided, even down to the support of these wars that are going on, are similar to the party views. If you're Republican, this is what you believe. If you're Democrat, this is what you believe. You have to be on this side of the war. And if you're Republican, you have to be on this side of the wars. And it's insane. Like, you're not allowed to have your own brain. And this is about, having your own mind and kind of like exposing that you have these own thoughts. So like, this is Aquarius. Aquarius isn't, doesn't fit into a box. Aquarius wants to be their own person. They're unique. And this is our thoughts right now with this full moon, is those unique thoughts that are going to be coming out. And just like, I don't want you to tell me how to think. We have, if you're, everything is put into groups, like women for this and men for this and blacks for this and Latinas for this, and it's just like, why does everything have to be put in a box? Why can't it just be like people for this? So I think that polarization is really going to change with this, because it's ridiculous, I think. And I think that's what with this Aquarius, it's going to kind of put us all more as a groupage of humans that are going to have to figure things out. Okay, my cat's just walking in front of me here. So, it's strange that, but this is why this full moon is so important. What I've said in the video and in this last few series is this, because this is like going to be such a pivotal point in our lives. So links in the description and at the end to a playlist that I'm going to have with all of these videos if you haven't seen them. So I definitely think you guys should check them all out, because it all just kind of breaks down and it all melds together also. I'll put that playlist and link at the end of this video. So, so why this, full moons is the climax. Things begin to kind of fall in place. Sorry, it's my cat's tail. He just gets me off my train of thought. Sorry about that. So we're going to be more accepting, less polarized, learn to see the other side so we can, kind of fill in that divide, kind of like, fill in that chasm that's between us. And understanding and getting someone moving out of their comfort zone can be difficult. But as a Capricorn myself, not a Capricorn sun, but as a Capricorn ascendant, which is really like, how I deal with things, how I look at life, how I deal with life, how I go about things, and my way of dealing with things. And I have a Taurus moon, so I have that fixed, Saturnian, grounded energy that's really just, doesn't like a lot of change. So I know that more than, a lot of people, that are, genuinely Aquarian types that love change and love, are that mutable signs. I'm much more of that kind of like, it's hard for me to get pushed out of my comfort zone. But Aquarius and Uranus playing those key roles will be that cattle prod that we just can't hide from. And the change will be, or the change will be left behind, and will be bitter, alone, and just those like, get off my lawn kind of people. And we don't want to be like that. So Mercury, Venus, and Mars are what we call the personal planets. Again, we kind of talked about that a little bit before. Uranus, Neptune, Pluto are transpersonal or outer planets, and then of course Saturn and Jupiter are our social planets, because in this groupage the personal planets are involved. The supermoon is going to affect every single one of us, and not just the ones that are in, well, mainly people, especially that are in the fixed and mutable signs. I think especially the fixed signs are going to feel it the worst because they have that more fixed way about them. So definitely check out your charts and check out your placements and your angles. So if you have angles in all like the fixed signs, you know, that's going to be a little bit difficult for y'all. So also because it involves the social and transpersonal planets, the world as a whole is in for quite a weekend, pretty much all week, probably actually the next year. I think until about 2026, we're just going to see this kind of, you know, snowball rolling downhill, and you can't stop it, so you just have to see what happens. So check out the other videos in the series: Mercury retrograde, Jupiter Saturn square, the Mars Jupiter conjunction, you know, everything. The playlist is going to be linked at the end of this video. Definitely check it out. Ring that bell. Make sure you like and subscribe. And please leave comments. I'd love to hear from y'all. It helps us all grow. I want to hear how you think this is going to happen, how you think the world is going right now, and how you think this might affect you. And I would love to hear from y'all. So I will see you soon. Bye.